Hello, my name is Kimberly Watson, and I am here today to try to convince the coaches here that are in the baseball league in Brownwood and the TTA board members to change a rule that I don't agree with. The TTA is the Texas Teenage Association, and they govern our rules here that we abide by in our town. Right now, the rule states that each player on the roster must play a minimum of 2 innings in every week and 1 time at bat every week. And to me, this is not even feasible. This potentially could mean that a little boy or a little girl doesn't even set foot on a field for an entire game. My son's team last season, I know, played sometimes 3 games in 1 week. So that would mean up to 2 games that a kid could sit and not even see any kind of play time. I was fortunate, as a parent of having a child with the coach that he had, and he didn't do this. He batted all 12 of his players on his roster, and then he subbed them in and out every inning. He was in machine pitch, and once you get to that age group and up, there's a maximum of 9 players on the field, and then you can bat your roster. These other teams that we consider them to be called stacked teams or powerhouse teams, and they're usually the ones battling for district first place. They are often set 3 kids, 2 times or more a week. They're the ones that are on the bench, not even playing, and they're usually the players that aren't as skilled as the other 9 on the team. One incident last season where my coach did feel pressured to do this with his team. It was when we played one of these teams and we were battling for first and second place. And he did make the decision to only bat 9, and we didn't get a lot into it, explaining to the kids as to why. There's not really an easy way to explain it to them that, we just simply said the other team's doing it, so we're going to have to do it too. But to see those 3 players on our team discouraged, and not playing, not batting every inning, they didn't understand. And then to look across the field at the opponent's team and realize that he has 3 players too, you really lose, the whole reasoning behind, what we're doing here. You've got 6 unhappy kids with their feelings hurt. And to me, if the rule was changed and they at least batted every game 20 minutes or a minimum of 2 innings every game, then this fairness is spread equally amongst both teams. There's not going to be any difference. The goal at the end of the year to meet district has kind of changed over the years too. When I was younger, we played our league and we got to first and second place, and that was that. You received your trophy and then you were done. But 14 kids were picked from each team on a select team, and then they went on to play in the tournament plays and to travel. And you don't really have anybody that's been singled out or anything like that. These 14 players were just recognized for their efforts and their skills, and then they went on to play. Right now, the way they do it, the first and second placed district teams can go, but they're allowed to pick up 3 players. So if one of these powerhouse teams that bench their weaker players throughout the season, not only are they going to continue to bench these 3 players, but they're going to bench 3 more for the new players that they picked up that are at a better skill level than the ones that they have on their team. Another problem you deal with this is angry parents. You've got kids, that their feelings are hurt or that they're upset. Well, the parents are going to be too. Often very disgruntled to the point of lashing out at coaches, and you can't blame them. We're to protect our children. This is what our job is to do, and to spare their feelings as much as we can. They're going to learn enough in life about what's fair and what's not. We should encourage them to be team players and to support their team and encourage one another. I could see benching a player would even, not necessarily make the kids want to bully him, but, groan when he does have to play, or afraid they're going to lose the game because, this 1 or 2 or 3 children actually do get to play more in a game. And if it was a rule, then, this wouldn't be the case. It would just be that everybody plays, and that's that. These kids that are sitting out are forced to not, play entire games. They could possibly feel as if they were a nuisance, that they weren't good enough, or that they were failures. And, you know, you can't hardly blame them for feeling that way. When they finally do get to play, I'm sure that the pressure is so intense that when they do bat, they're probably going to strike out, or when the ball is hit to them, they're probably going to miss it. And this will decrease any chance that they have of, you know, playing anymore anyways. Whoever made these rules, I don't even understand how they could consider them reasonable. You know, again, you know, we're here to try to, you know, teach these kids to play baseball and to encourage them, you know, to participate in a team. And I've talked to the chairman before, and it seemed that all he could hear my words was, you know, competitiveness. And, you know, he didn't understand really. And of course, he just happened to coach the team that won district. And yes, he sat his players on the bench. I can see, you know, benching a player that's disruptive, or they have a bad attitude, or they don't make practice. But I can't see benching a player because he's not as good as another kid on the team. And another thing, these parents all pay the same amount for their kids to play as the other kids who are playing the majority of the time. You know, money, you know, it's not necessarily an issue, but I can see where it could be brought up. When I went over the rule book and the TTA guidelines, it was kind of ironic to me that there was a poem, and I do want to recite this poem to you because it's pretty meaningful. It's called "He's Just a Little Boy." He stands at the plate with his heart pounding fast. The bases are loaded, the die has been cast. Mom and Dad cannot help him, he stands all alone. A hit at this moment would send his team home. The ball meets the plate, he swings and he misses. There's a groan from the crowd, with some boos and some hisses. A thoughtless voice cries, "Strike out the bum." Tears fill his eyes, the game is no longer fun. So open your heart and give him a break, for it's moments like this a man you can make. Keep this in mind when you hear someone forget. He is just a little boy and he's not a man yet. I hope that my speech here influences you today to reconsider the guidelines that you've set up for these kids. And I'm not a disgruntled parent, but I do feel like I'm speaking on behalf of the ones and the players that have been hurt by these rules. Thank you very much for your time.